Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a 2v2 for you between Gabriel and Turtleboy versus Big Brain and Big Boy. So, this game was placed on Reddit as a live replay between, I think Turtleboy posted it. And it's from his perspective, and I asked him if I could cast this game, and he gave me the replay. And here we are. So, something a little different today, and I hope you guys enjoy. Map's going to be Campbell's Convoy. I like this as a 2v2 map. I think it makes you make decisions about where you want to fight at, and this road running right through the middle makes it, if you want to help your teammate on one side of the road or the other, you're really going to have to commit to that. Even within the sides of the map, there's these kind of dividers that sort of separate points from points, and it sort of leads to this interesting decision-making. And I think that makes for a great 2v2 map. Expecting to see lots and lots of action. Looks like all of our players are opening pretty standard. Haven't seen anything unusual here. Okay, I take it back. Big Brain. Oh, it's Big Byron? Big Byron? Ugh, dyslexia at work, eh? In any case, this US player has gone for 3 Pathfinders and a heavy machine gun. That is definitely unusual. Pathfinders are such an interesting squad, in my opinion. I don't know. They're decent at fighting, but not as good as any other infantry squad. Great at capturing, obviously. It just feels like it turns them into a tankier scout squad that's just as good at capturing. So, interesting to me that he's choosing to open 3. Heavy machine guns setting up opposite each other, just barely on the edge of each other's range there. Nice flank by this Jeep. That heavy machine gun's going to have to go. US player trying to steal away this fuel point. Looks like he's not going to get it, because the Germans stepped onto the point to prevent that from happening. Looks like the retreat's going to work out okay for him. This rifleman squad coming in to prevent the chase. Second rifleman coming in. Feels like this fight, may have favored our riflemen there at that close range, but with those Germans being set up on the heavy cover, it was never going to work for them. Motorcycle staying active. This is what you want to do. Capture territory while no one's looking. Pathfinder's holding down this top side. Looks like our German player wanted to just decapture the point, but it's not going to happen. Grenadiers getting wrecked by that heavy machine gun. They're going to have to get out of there too. This is an interesting spot to put your heavy machine gun at. I like it. Far back, kind of safe. Wouldn't mind seeing him set up here. I expect our German player may want to add on a mortar. See if he ends up wanting to do that. I guess I want to be looking at Gabe here. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Gabe add on a mortar, but it looks like he's going to go for a half-track here. This isn't something you see very often. I think the Stummel upgrade could be pretty good here, especially against somebody that's gone for 4 Pathfinders. With that many Pathfinders, he's going to struggle to deal with vehicles without some sort of dedicated answer. Yeah, we'll see how that works out for him. Big boy down here. Adding on a half-track. Taking away these vehicles. Nicely done. I like the use of this half-track here. Look at that, it's almost at 1. Now, putting that half-track back pretty far, not fighting without support. That's exactly how you want to use those light half-tracks. Now, our red US player did add on a paratrooper squad. I suspect... Yeah, okay, so he's adding on a half-track now. I was going to say he definitely needs some AT. He does have the option to add bazookas onto that. Paratrooper squad, but I feel like that's not really a good choice. Typically, you'll see players go for the light machine gun on them to make them more effective at killing infantry, and that is in fact what he's done here. This is cool. This isn't a build you see very often either, but that's a little bit scary for our German there. Unlucky miss with the half-track there, and it looks like our US player is going to back up. So what I was going to say is the 259 armored half-track upgrade is something that's fairly unusual, at least when it comes to 1v1s. It's definitely a cool build. I love this. Okay, so this was his plan all along to deal with this heavy machine gun, was to load up a half-track, dump out the squads right on top of him, and force him back. That's very cool. And in fact, he's not actually going to reveal just how many units are inside this half-track, so that's a bit of an unknown for our US player. Looks like he's going to move down here, maybe force away these Pathfinders. Wonder if our teal player down here is thinking about adding on a mortar to this half-track here. He's playing conservative with his half-tracks, which I like, by the way. You see so many people just throw them away, and I think it's really cool that he's playing conservative. Oh, nice tricky upgrade on that 75mm half-track there. Fortunately for that half-track, German half-track getting out of there. Big push in the middle here. German player taking early losses, but it looks like they're ultimately going to win this fight, especially with the help of this half-track, forcing these riflemen to reposition. More riflemen coming in. And it does look like the German's going to give up this position, at least for now. Nice use of the barrage ability by these half-tracks. That ability is just so incredibly powerful. Getting the most out of their vehicles. This squad's got to go. I think they're going to die. Yeah. Wow, really? Wow, that was extremely lucky for our German player. That squad definitely... I wonder if he wasn't focusing it. In any case, good for him. Pathfinders continuing to be as annoying as possible. Just capturing territory away, denying those resources to his opponent. That's very difficult to do in a 2v2, in my opinion. You know, in multiplayer games, especially on maps where there's just not enough space to fit everybody, it turns into this, right? And nothing wrong with this, by the way. This is one thing I like about 2v2s. But everybody's in the same spot, right? Everybody's just trying to hold down one lane of the map. And when the situation gets like that, it becomes very difficult to capture away territory because you're having to go through this slugfest, right? And the US player, our red US player, is actively getting behind his opponent's lines here and just being annoying as possible. On the other side of the map, our teal German is trying to stop that from happening, or trying to be annoying on his own. I'd love him to see him be a little more aggressive with that. Ooh, big bomb. Nice. That was the demo charges, not demo, satchel charges from those engineers there. That was cool. That's not a way you see vehicles die very often. Anyway, what I was trying to finish my thought there, I'd love to see this bike get a little more engaged, take away some points. I mean, these are free real estate, right? Of course, if the U.S. player figures out what the German's doing, he might try to shut it down, but for now, it looks like free real estate to me. U.S. player has unsurprisingly gone for bar rifles here. He has gone for heavy weapons, giving him those upgraded M3 assault carriers. Basically gives him a little more health. Also gives him that interchangeable parts, which is just such a strong ability, letting him switch between AT and anti-infantry. I don't suspect we'll see him make much use of that ability in this particular game, but I won't rule it out entirely. German players deciding they need to group up. Don't mind this decision. Barraging once again. Love how active he's being with that ability. Constantly calling it in. It looks like our Germans have decided they need to group up on one side of the map. To be perfectly honest, the U.S. players are just completely ignoring that bottom side, so could be that grouping up on this top side is just what they need to get a push rolling. U.S. players barraging the heck out of these fixed emplacements, forcing that heavy machine gun. Tank busters moving up. So our heel player has gone for the Panzerjäger Command Battle Group. It's a pretty popular battle group right now. It gives you access to these minefields that are just so good against infantry. Look away for 1 second, it's possible to lose a squad to a minefield. And it also gives you access to these tank busters, which I believe carry around 2. Maybe it's just 1. No, 2 single Panzerschreck, okay. I mean, Panzerschrecks are just amazing. They're so good. I mean, the tank busters are way better at killing tanks than their rifle, the rifle version of that unit. Big fight here in the middle. I like our German player using this medical truck to keep his units active and on the field as long as humanly possible. Tank busters moving up, pushing away this half track here. That's the power of that M3 assault carrier. 80 health is enough for the team to survive 1 extra shot in most cases, especially at this stage of the game. And 1 shot is just enough time to get out of a bad situation in a lot of cases. Scouts pushing away that bike. A reconnaissance tractor from our Africa Corps player. This is such a unique unit. I think you see it a lot more often in team games. It's not a very common in one-on-ones, but I think it's a great unit. Really high utility. Being able to see out in the fog of war is just truly amazing. And getting access to those, it's just really good in anti-tank battles as well, or excuse me, artillery battles as well. Nice barrage though. Seeing that unit in the fog of war there. That was really cool. Our German player did lose his bike, unfortunately for him. Sure, he's not too broken up about it. It's been a long, the game's gone quite a while now. The Warmachek player is securing the top side slowly. Big push in the middle here. Both sides fighting over this central point. Germans are deciding they have lost enough victory points for now. That was a smoke call-in from our reconnaissance tractor. We got a propaganda shot coming down, going to force all these units to retreat. And that's going to be a victory for our German player. Nice pickup on that half track. That's really important. Coming out of the smoke there. This leaflet barrage is so much better than it was in Company of Heroes 2. It's a persistent effect. It lasts for a while. It's just so much better. In the previous game, it was like a small little area, basically this size, and it didn't last very long, and it wouldn't always force a full retreat. It's just so much better in this game. So this is kind of interesting. Our German player has gone for Panzer Grenadier squads, which you don't see that often. I think that they are worse in this game than they were in past games. Part of their strength was the fact that you could upgrade them to be anti-tank. So they were anti-infantry in Company of Heroes 2. Then you could upgrade them with 2 Panzerschrecks, and that's just incredibly strong. Nice pickup by these stealthed Panzerjäger tank buster squads. That was a phenomenal. He's going to have to get out of there, but that's really, really big. So, quickly taking stock of folks' tech levels here. Our red US player is adding on his tank depot. Africa Corps does have his Panzer Command, as does our Warmachek player. And they do have the fuel for it, so I think we're going to be seeing some medium tanks in the next minute or two. Big push on this top side, going around that heavy machine gun. We'll see if he's able to suppress them. Looks like he's not going to do that. So nice flank there. Now there is, of course, a bunker here, so nice. I'm not sure what that was. Thought it was going to be smoke. Paratroopers getting out of there. Pathfinders finishing their flank here. And I think these 2 squads may need to retreat. Yeah. Looks like it's going to be a soft retreat from our German player. Reinforcing this Grenadier squad out of combat there. Fighting off these Pathfinders. Looks like another artillery call-in by our tractor there. Yes, indeed. Big old push on this right side. Looks like he's doing a call-in here to potentially deal with that. Ooh. I was saying I think he's doing a call-in to try and kill this reconnaissance tractor, but our German player's added on this Stuka rocket launcher. That's going to be really ugly for our U.S. players to deal with. That, used correctly, that's going to be a lot of attrition that they have to deal with. It's also really good in conjunction with that tractor, so I think that's a great add-on in this situation. What's surprising to me is the lack of vehicles we've seen from both sides. I mean, I know we saw some half-tracks, but half-tracks are dirt cheap, and, I would have expected to see more of them potentially. I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm expecting here. But our U.S. player does have a Sherman on the field. That's going to push away this infantry squad. And until our German has a way to deal with that, it's going to kind of run the show for a minute. The German player does have this Pack 40, but of course he's using it to defend the center. I think until he has a tank to deal with it, it's going to be Sherman show up top. Both players just standing on the victory point, looking at each other. Nicely done. What is this call in here? Recon loiter. Okay. So he's given himself vision of this area. Fortunately for him, the U.S. player doesn't have any... Excuse me, the Germans don't have any anti-aircraft. Stuka barrage coming in. Get some hits on this MG nest, question mark. Looks like the shot went long a little bit. Half-track pushing in, trying to pick up the tractor. Barraging this heavy machine gun, really nicely done. Infantry getting around out of the arc of that MG. fighting these Panzer Grenadiers. Bike getting involved. Grenade. Uh-oh. Good, really nice grenade. Isn't going to force anyone back, but it is going to do a lot of damage. Another grenade. Woo! Hitting his own guys with the grenade, but did pick up some riflemen there. Panzer Grenadiers duking out with these paratroopers here. Heavy machine gun setting up, AT gun setting up, really nicely done, bringing all his force to bear at the same time. German's got to go. Still trying to help with these Panzer Grenadiers. Nice smoke grenade. I'd like to see our German attack through the smoke here. He might do that. Nope. Sherman getting out of there. I think that was a good decision. Panzer Grenadier in jeopardy. All these units in jeopardy, honestly. Half-track coming to save the day. Heavy machine gun repositioning. Panzer Grenadiers falling back. AT gun still set up on that Sherman. Smoke still blocking vision, though. This is a well-executed fight by both players. I'd like to see him reman it. Looks like he's gonna. Shot on that AT gun. Yep, nicely done. Panzer IV coming in. Sherman's gonna need to leave the area immediately. Okay, we got two Panzer IVs up top. Really investing heavily in this side. Maybe thinking about chasing here. Chasing is very risky, right? You don't know what's in the fog of war. You don't know if there's mines. You don't know if there's AT guns. In this case, there's nothing standing between him and that Sherman, so that Sherman's got to go. And by the way, that these players can hear each other in the fog of war. So, looks like he's trying to pick him up in the fog of war there, but not going to be able to do it. Panzer IV moving on the middle here, going to wipe out that heavy machine gun. Assault Grenadiers jumping off the back of that Panzer IV right into the line of that machine gun. They do have a smoke grenade, and they are crawling out of its arc, so nicely done there. Looks like the Germans pushed in heavily here. Throwing down a nice grenade here. That's really good. Stun grenade, that's cool. Mortar hanging out. Panzer IV looks like he was still hunting that Sherman, but he's not going to get him. Half-track pissed that this Panzer IV would dare approach on his territory. Paratroopers moving down. And yeah, well executed. That was a really fun fight to see on the top side there. I think it was well executed by both players. And the Panzer IVs coming in just at the last minute to win that fight was absolutely clutch. Artillery barrage coming in somewhere. Wish it would show you on the map. Oh, right here. Stuka probably going to hit here as well. Picking up that mortar and the emplacement. It's pretty good for a US player, or German player rather. Big push on the top side, supported by the Sherman. Combined arms, that is a dead Grenadier, probably. Unfortunately for our German. Attention otherwise occupied. Tends to start happening in the late game. AT from this half-track going to push away those Panzer IVs. I love that both players are working together with each other's Panzer IVs. That's some cool teamwork to see. You know, because it's a lot of time in team games. You know, you'll see folks play off each other, right? But I suspect these two might be in a chat together, especially because they're facing against two people that are clearly know each other based on their names. So it's cool to see them working together like that. And it looks like our German player is going to be able to secure this top side. US player is upset about it. Panzer IV coming to help. Trying to pick up this rifleman. I don't think he's going to get it. Maybe. Nope. Motorbike getting involved, marking these units, but I think that might be a dead motorbike. Barely going to get out of there. No AT. Grenade storm coming out of those Panzer Grenadiers. Excuse me, Assault Grenadiers. Jeep running for its life. Medical half-track running for its life. Tractor trying to get out of there. And big fight here. Barrage coming in maybe here. Yep. And wow, that is a lot of Germans. It's not a place I would want to be if I was a rifleman squad and I only had one veterancy. Looks like they're going to live. Good for him. Satchel charge. Panzer Grenadiers saw it, though. Panzer IV shooing away that Sherman. Sherman has gotten to veterancy 1. And wow. You know, as expected, 2v2s, just action everywhere. Let's take a moment to take stock of the situation here. Our Africa Corps player does have access to his elephant tank, and he's 100 manpower away from that, so we're going to be seeing that any second. Our red U.S. player is adding on his second Sherman, while the purple U.S. player is adding on a Pershing, which is already here, of course. And it looks like... Not sure what our Warmachek player wants to do. He is floating a lot of fuel, but... Yeah, we'll see what he wants to do there. I guess he could be going for a King Tiger here. He is a few points away from being able to do that. Two more command points. That'll happen pretty quick at this stage. Half track charging into a Panzer IV. Never a good idea. Heard a barrage somewhere, but I'm not sure where it came in. I think this is an artillery. Okay, nice smoke. Pushing those tanks back. Both players working together here. Here comes a barrage. Where's that going? Deep. Not going to connect, but that's okay. This player's pushing in a big way in the middle here. Recognizing the opponents are strong on the right. Panzer IV shells just bouncing right off the front there. Persian pushing back the entire German army here. And that medical truck's going to have to be careful. So, oh, here comes the Tiger. We're just going to get all the big tanks this game, aren't we? Yeah, this fight's crazy. What I was about to say is I like that our German player has been keeping his medical truck. I commented on this earlier. It is high risk, high reward to keep your medical truck out like this. I think our U.S. player may have had a couple opportunities to try and nuke it. I mean, it's hard to do that in the heat of battle, especially when there's about 1,000 other units shooting at you. But nicely done by our German player, keeping that thing alive and being active and mobile with it. Tiger telling everybody who's boss. Pershing getting involved there. Look how much damage that Pershing does to that Tiger. That's just insane. This Pershing is going to vet up very quickly if it keeps getting shots like that. Best player sneaking away in this bottom point here. Yeah, so this game is shaping up to be a pretty brutal fight here at the end. I mean, I know we're not at the end, but U.S. players getting a bit low. They're going to have to get active here. If they want to stay in this game much longer. I'm not sure what the right option for them is, other than something like a blitzkrieg. But that is a really scary force to push into. And the only way it works is if both of our U.S. players work together. Which is certainly on the table. Units mirroring each other. Of course, this tractor is revealing these units in the fog of war. Smoke grenades, letting these units get close. That's really cool. I really like that with the assault grenadiers, literally getting on top of those units. Wow, Pershing shell bouncing off the front of this this Tiger. Barrage coming in here. Connection there by the Pershing. And while this is happening, we have a push on the top side. but I can't look because there's so much going on down here. Looks like our U.S. player did try to push in there, but is going to have to give it up. Former Czech player getting active up here, recognizing the retreat from his opponent and doing something about it. Pershing continuing to push away tanks here. And the King Tiger is on the field. The barrage. Yeah, well done to both teams. Staying active with their... Ooh, picking up that engineer on that retreat. Nicely done. That's important because our purple... I almost called him Protoss. Our purple U.S. player only has one engineer left, and he desperately needs them to keep that Pershing in the fight. Now, our other U.S. player has upgraded his Shermans to have the 76mm barrel, increasing their effectiveness against tanks. Smoke grenades keeping these U.S. soldiers back. And Pershing up top. Tiger looking like he may have wanted to flank, but these tank buster behind that Pershing is going to be brutal. Tiger backing into this Pershing. That's probably not exactly what he had in mind, but those tank busters going to pick up that Pershing. He would be happy if he lost both of those squads and still traded. Airstrike coming in, doing big damage to this Tiger. Looking for some AT grenades, but I don't think he's going to get it. These Assault Grenadiers here to save the day. Nicely done. Nice pickup by our German player. Sherman's getting involved here. Now, currently, it's the victory points are even, so neither player is losing their victory points. Wouldn't mind seeing these U.S. get on this point. I guess they are with you know, this huge squad here, barely breathing. Amazingly enough, the U.S. forces are taking away this victory point up top, and our German player doesn't look like he's noticed yet. King Tiger finally here. That's how long it takes to drive across the map. Not really, I just don't know where it was. More smoke forcing these Shermans to approach closer. Look how much freaking damage that King Tiger does. Panzer IV getting involved too. Nice smoke from the Germans there. King Tiger gonna absolutely shred these paratroopers. And yeah, our U.S. players currently have the victory points, but I don't think that's gonna last very long. Oh, yeah, excuse me, they do not. They're in trouble. Looks like the armor is going to try pushing into the opponent's base here. Feeling like he has an advantage. Again, working together closely here. I think that's the story of this 2v2. I think that our German players have worked together better than our U.S. players did. I mean, our U.S. players played, everybody played well, right? And there were lots of tricks and strategies that we saw coming out from both sides. But I think that towards the end here, when the big tanks started showing up, our U.S. players really needed to hang out together and try to do some work together. Of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, so... Nice barrage, actually connecting with some of these Shermans. Smoke grenades trying to keep them safe. Thought that was a smoke. Yeah, here it is. Keeping those Shermans in the fog of war, but unfortunately, when there's King Tigers in your base, you know things aren't going well. Yes, this was a fun game for me to cast. Thank you, Turtleboy, for sharing this replay with me. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. And I will see you in the next video.